catch no fame, cause I'm worth too many M's, you dig?
Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to set blood, ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Oh, I live in the hood, ass nigga. Never got put on, no claiming the hood though. Oh, you fucking with the homegirl, but don't come to the hood with none of your damn homeboys. They don't get a pass. Had the little homies press they ass for your tattoos. Hey, your mama waking up to some bad news. The plug saying groove, I'm a dime. I was long in the race, skinny nigga with the braid. Took a 2-man fade, I'm really from the hood. I took a fucking break to get my money right, but I was banging on the plane in the meeting with Jermaine. They like, poet, oh you bang? They forgot where I came from. I was gang banging when it wasn't fun. Homie doing life right now, cause we don't play with guns. You ain't from the hood. Nah. You ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to set blood, ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. And that goes for these hoes too. Start fucking on niggas and throwing these niggas hood up. Ha, little dot. Heard you gave a homie head in the trap spot. Got a throwaway in the stash spot. Boy, you not real, like a Sasquatch. Boy, I'm so high, I'm seeing astronauts. Boy, I ball hard, I need a mascot. Oh, and Swahili, I'm a damu. My little cousin making paru. My nigga Uzi, he from Fire Deuce. Pad blows, I be hanging with some real whoops. Gang signs out the window when we drive coupes. Making money with some crips like it's 92. Banging on tracks. Back in my days, it was banging on. You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to set blood, ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood.
Fuck Chris Brown, nigga. Pull up in the hood right now, nigga. Catch your fade, nigga. Fuck, nigga. Frogs.
You ain't from the hood.
Holla Sue with the blood starts swirling. Fuck you talking about, nigga. We out here, nigga, right now.
What up with it, people? That's that shadow banner shit. What my people at? That's that shadow banner shit right there. That's that shadow banner. They banned your boy. You know what I'm saying? They don't want your people up in here getting this info. They don't give your boys alert. They don't give my people the alert. Anyway, what's up with it on this? What is it? Thursday night, June 2nd, second day of Gay Pride Month around this summer, bitch. But anyway, I got the lowdown to the lowdown, right? Everybody talking about this while all these mass shootings and all this old stuff going down, and it's simple. The Democrats have been saying it for months. Donald Trump have warned you why it's going down the way it's going down. He told you before it was going to go down how it was going to go down. But y'all didn't believe him. As usual, y'all don't believe the Trumpster when he talk. You know? And when y'all don't believe the Trumpster when he talk, we fail to realize that we fuck up the country. That's why you're supposed to believe in the Trump. He was sent here from the Lord above. Didn't you know he was sent here from the Lord? Right? But we got Joe Biden talking about gun control. Hold on, we got Joe Biden talking about gun control. Hold on, is this thing on? And we know Joe Biden don't know shit about gun control. Joe Biden been in the damn Congress and all that shit 40-something damn years. He still ain't done nothing about gun control. And he knows he can't do nothing about gun control. But Trump tried to warn you about this gun control. And I'm finna get it. I ain't gonna tell you the reason why this stuff is going on until late in the video. But let's get into this gun control by Joe Biden.
The day before, we visited Uvalde, Texas. In front of Robb Elementary School, we stood before 21 crosses for 19 third and fourth graders.
You got Chicago, for example. They already have...
Now, we talking about mass shootings, right? Now, no kid, right? No kid is more important than another kid, right? All kids are precious. All kids are important. All kids are gifts from God. We shouldn't harm no kids. But just like it's kids die in Texas, it's kids die every day all around the hoods of the world and stuff like that. It's kids dying everywhere around America. So if we're going to protect one, we got to protect all. Just don't protect them in school. They die in way more places than school, baby.
Plenty of very strict gun laws, some of the strictest in the country. 47 people shot there over the Memorial Day weekend. 9 of them died.
Hey, good morning.
Now, this has nothing to do with gun control, right? This has nothing to do with no Fifth Amendment, Second Amendment. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing. This got something with niggas going crazy in the hood. They got guns, and they got ghost guns. They're making guns. They're stealing guns. They got all kinds of guns. But that's not the problem. The problem is stopping gun violence. And it's a way to stop it. I'm going to tell you in the end of it. I'm going to get into it at the end of it. I ain't going to tell you right now. I'm going to tease you a little bit. I'm going to tease you a little bit like we having sex. I'm going to tease you like a girl say, you can have it, just stick the tip in.
Guys, now these are just preliminary numbers that we have tallied up so far, but we're on track to actually have more gun violence that happened this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, than last year's Memorial Day weekend. I want to take you guys to one of the scenes that we're talking about. This is the latest one that happened last night along the lakefront. Chicago Fire telling us they transported a 19-year-old woman from the DuSable Harbor just before 10 o'clock last night.
A 19-year-old woman. Did you hear that? A 19-year-old woman shot in the city of Chicago. Shot. Huh? One of the victims, one of the shooting victims, not one of the homicide victims, but one of the shooting victims shot a female 19-year-old. Poor baby.
Police are saying she was riding her bicycle when an unknown male started shouting at her before firing off rounds.
A nigga hollering at a female on a bike and shot a female on the bike. Hey, baby, what's your name? I got a boyfriend. Blacka, 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 blacka. What kind of shit is that?
After receiving a gunshot wound to the thigh, she was taken to Northwestern Hospital in fair condition.
So which law would have prevented any of that?
And the shooter still on the...
What law would have prevented somebody getting capped out? Blacka, 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 blacka. Because they didn't want to talk to a nigga, huh? What law in your repertoire would have prevented that? Huh? And your red flag law, and your 21 and over law, like the club.
And the shooter still on the loose. Then we go to Sunday night where more bloodshed happened after a woman was shot while sitting in a parked car with a man in the River North neighborhood. Police.
Another woman shot in the city of Chicago. That's 2 women shot in the city of Chicago. 2 victims that was women shot in the city of Chicago. Not only they shooting kids, but they shooting women. Nobody's safe.
We say it happened on the 500 block of West Erie. 4 guys approached the vehicle, one of them reaching inside and punching the man in the face, while another shot the woman in the back.
Whoa, you punch the man and shoot the woman. What kind of shit is that? Why, you can reverse that? I mean, not to say nobody supposed to get shot, but damn. You shoot the woman and sock the dude? What kind of shit is that?
It's also listed in fair condition.
All right, well...
Do we think that all these people in Chicago who are shooting each other are legally buying their guns?
So here's a couple of examples for you.
I got to read it off the paper. Let me read the examples off the paper for you. I can't think of it in my mind because my mind don't run like that. My mind don't work like that. So let me read it off this paper, word for word, and fuck it up, word for word.
I was just talking about the red flags law. There are some examples here of how they've prevented tragedies. In California, a study showed that California red flag law has assisted in the prevention of 21 mass shootings between 2016 and 2018.
21? What about all the mass shooting that niggas do on the street? You talking about mass shooting playing people going to shoot up a mall or a store or a school, supposedly mass shootings. What about the mass shootings in the hood where they shooting females in the fucking leg in the city of Chicago?
Now, these numbers show 54 people were shot this Memorial Day weekend with 9 killed. And these numbers came in while Chicago police had every full-duty sworn-in officer working.
Every sworn-in duty officer working, right? Every nigga that was supposed to be on duty was working over the weekend. And it was still one of the most violent weekends in Chicago history with every police officer on the street. This is what happens when you defund the police.
without any days off during the holiday weekend. But this time last year, only 3 were killed, while 37 were shot during the Memorial Day holiday. While police are working around the clock, people who live in Chicago say something has to change.
I couldn't help but think there are too many other schools, too many other everyday places that have become killing fields.
Like the hood, like the streets of Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, Detroit, huh? All the hoods in America becoming killing fields under Joe Biden administration.
Battlefields here in America.
They got her in handcuffs while they shot her, y'all.
Now, this is something, right? I don't know if you saw this in the news right now. This is something like I can understand, like, right? I was talking to my homeboy, right? And I was telling him, you ain't got to necessarily be no damn white supremacist to be no white supremacists and hate niggas, right? You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be for no group. You can develop white supremacist ideologies just by watching the news, right? If you was a white person, right, in America, right, and you was told that you was racist, right? You were told that you was an oppressor, right? You was told to learn more about this culture, right? You got black people all in every time something happened, they always in the middle of the street talking about Black Lives Matter and the other people's lives don't matter, right? Then you got innocent people. I mean, you got people dying in the street, right? Getting shot by the police. You got Black Lives Matter come out lying about them, right? And accusing the police of doing shit and causing, and this racial motivation, right? As a white person, you can look at the news and you can get mad as a white person because you can feel your race is being targeted. You know what I'm saying? You can feel like, damn, I'm not really doing nothing. I'm being targeted by this group, that group. I'm even being targeted by my own people. You know, if you have a certain ideology, you get targeted by your own people. So it's like you can develop some kind of hate, you know what I'm saying, throughout this by watching regular social media, watching regular news, watching CNN talking all this other bullshit. Now, this kind of case right here, right, as a black man, right, this is kind of embarrassing and mad to me, and it kind of sets some anger to me, like these stupid Black Lives Matter motherfuckers, right? You feel me? And I'm a black man, and I'm getting tired of this shit. I'm tired of them throwing it up in people's face all the time. I'm tired of them lying. I'm tired of them talking about we oppressed, right? I'm tired of them talking about equity, right? I'm tired of them talking about we need to be more transgender right, phobic, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm tired of all of those shit, right? And I'm tired of it as a black man. And they supposed to be fighting for a nigga like me. And I'm tired of it. So I know other people get tired of it thrown up in their damn face. You turn on the football game. You got them standing on the knee and putting their hand in the air. You know what I'm saying? You watch basketball. They all got on Black Lives Matter shit, right? Big ass Black Lives Matter in the middle of the court, right? You look on the street, they got Black Lives Matter painted all on the damn street, right? You turn on the TV, you know what I'm saying? You got people always victims, Black Lives this. I mean, when do everybody else's life matter? When did my life matter? Right? So let's get into this story right here.
Why they shot her? Why they shot her, y'all? They got her in handcuffs. I've never seen. I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Arkansas, but I stopped here to get some gas, y'all, and to get some ice cream for my kids, y'all. And my son just watched this. My 1-year-old son just watched this. My 10-year-old son just watched this, and my 13-year-old son just watched this happen. The man ran. She was finna cooperate. She got scared. She ran down there. They shot her. 1, 2, 3, 4. My son got it on his phone too. They got her in handcuffs while she shot God. I'm a medical assistant, God. It ain't right. I'm a medical assistant, God. It ain't right.
Now, this is the latest Black Lives Matter fight, right? A woman supposedly handcuffed that got shot and was supposedly pregnant, right? Supposedly pregnant, right? But we still got violence in the streets of Chicago, right? Even though Black Lives Matter line, we still got gang violence in the streets of Chicago, right? That they not talking nothing about, right? So you got them hiding violence in Chicago, right? And you got them hiding, right, what crimes that black people commit, you know, and happen to get shot, right? And you got black people trying to cover that up, right? So I'm like, What the fuck, you know? You got white people covering up one thing, and you got black people covering up another thing. White people covering up the crimes that happen in the hood. Black Lives Matter covering up the crimes that happen when black people threaten the police or shoot at the police or actually get shot by the police. They cover that shit up, like this story. I mean, it's a Chicago story.
We pay all this money to live down here, and we can't feel safe.
People are talking about more police presence, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. I've seen more cops along the lakefront and everything, but
cops can't do nothing if you can't arrest them. If they can't arrest them, cops can't do nothing if they can't do their job. People not even feeling safe when they're talking about bringing more police in the city of Chicago. How you gonna have every city every police officer on the force, right, working at night on the weekends, 24 hours a shift, right, and still have more homicides than you have in any time in the last 10 years?
I don't know if that's the answer.
Florida, since passing a red flag law in 2018, there have been notable cases of the law intervening in multiple cases of potential violence.
Red flag is not a law that's going to pass to get more people to not have guns. Red flag is a law just to get them people inside your house. Right, they build another system. They build another government system, right? And that government system is gonna be for the taking of guns and to see if people crazy enough to have a weapon or not. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be a whole nother government system. So this is what red flag laws they want to pass, so they can do that. They can be all in your business, have a reason to go in your house, people snitching on each other. That's what the red flag law is.
Tonight, a rally highlighting the mistrust between parts of our community and the Kansas City Police Department. This after officers shot and injured a woman.
Our community is hurt. We are hurting. We are traumatized.
You always fucking traumatized. You always fucking hurting, right? Well, tell these sons of bitches to stop committing these damn crimes, right? This lady was in a stolen car, right? With a gun, ran away from the police and pointed the gun at the police. But they out there talking about, we are hurting. Black Lives Matter.
We've had problems with KCPD, and so I don't trust that department.
Tonight, we are hearing responses from those at the rally. The Jackson County Prosecutor's Office, which announced charges hours ago, Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas, and the Missouri State Highway Patrol, who is leading this investigation. The prosecutor's office announced charges against that woman, Leona Hale, earlier this evening. She's charged with unlawful possession of a firearm.
She's charged with unlawful possession of a firearm. This is who they out here protesting for. This the lady they out here protesting. These are her charges. Possession of a firearm.
Exhibiting it in a threatening manner. And
exhibited in a threatening manner, right? Meaning they probably thought she was going to shoot.
Resisting arrest.
And resisting away, meaning run away from the scene. Here go all right here with her pregnant, unpregnant, out of shape ass, right? Here go her running away from the scene with the gun pointing in a threatening manner. Huh? So this is the woman, they out there protesting because the police, they said drop the gun. She didn't drop it. She ran, pointed the gun at him in a threatening manner, and they shot her.
We stood at such a place just 12 days before, across from a grocery store in Buffalo, New York, memorializing 10 fellow Americans, a spouse, a parent, a grandparent.
You see how Joe Biden just tried to get emotion up? He on here talking about, and I'm not saying he's not supposed to talk about the victims of I can't even pronounce that damn city. You whatever the one in Texas, right? Of the mass shooting, right? It's an easy name too. I just get tired tongue saying it, right? But even though you said them names and much respect and much needed in that, but it was victims also died in the city of Chicago, and you didn't say not in their name. You didn't mention not near one time, right? None of the victims none of the kids that was killed or anything over this Memorial Weekend, right? Right? And if you're gonna talk about gun violence, talk about all gun violence. All gun violence is fucked up. Not just some, all of it.
A sibling, gone forever.
Prosecutors say the charges come after reviewing body camera video. The prosecutor's office sharing this screenshot of the video today showing Hale with a gun in her hand. According to court documents, video surveillance showed officers telling Hale to drop the firearm. This happened Friday outside the Family Dollar at East 6th and Prospect.
They're telling her to drop it, huh? But these were Black Matters out here fighting for. A woman with a gun in a stolen car pointed at the police.
Officers at the time were investigating the vehicle Hale was in, saying it matched the description of a stolen vehicle. A statement from the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office reads in part, our review of the investigation revealed the defendant, although she denied having a weapon at the time of the encounter with...
She on camera having a damn weapon, right? I didn't have no damn weapon. Don't you know they got body cameras and shit like that? Right? So Black Lives Matter probably hearing all this information. She telling them she shot. Oh, I didn't have no gun. Oh, I was pregnant. Whatever she may be telling them, right? So they out here protesting for her. She done lied to them. They believed her without even waiting for the evidence or any video or any testimony or anything, right? Right? Even hearing from the officers, they already made their assumptions.
With law enforcement officers continually displayed a weapon during her encounter with police officers and also appeared to be attempting to flee. Hale is still recovering from that shooting at this hour. Our reporter Andres Gutierrez talked with two people who rallied for her today in light of these charges.
In light of these charges, I mean, they didn't give a fuck. Man, they didn't give a fuck. We're going to still ride for her even though we know she lied. We don't give a fuck.
Connecticut and Indiana, for every 10 to 20 preventions under the red flag laws, there was one fewer death than would otherwise have been expected.
Protect Black women!
Those who know of Leona Hale wish there would have been a peaceful outcome rather than what happened Friday night in this Family Dollar parking lot when KCPD opened fire.
And we don't care if she did or didn't do what they said she did.
Huh? What? We don't care if she did or if she didn't do what we said she did. You don't care if she stole the car, right? Pointed the gun at the officer after trying to run from the police. You don't care about none of that. She shouldn't have been shot. Well, if that was the case, what is the circumstance of her being shot? She actually had to shoot an officer, right? Or she actually had to kill an officer for her to be shot. What is the circumstance for them to shoot first, right? Because you got to remember, they got a family too. Like the officers involved in the mass shooting, they got they got a family too. Nobody even heard from them officers. They ain't gave no testimony or not. People been calling these people cowards, calling them scary. They ain't done their job. They cause kids to die. I mean, that's some fucked up things to say about some officers, and you ain't heard nothing about. You ain't heard the circumstances. You ain't heard what wrong, what went right, what they did or did not do. But people are persecuting, right? Just like Black Lives Matter persecuting these police officers, right? Even though the woman lied to him, right? Even though after they found out they knew she lied, they still out here talking the same shit. Oh, Black Lives Matter. Oh, she shouldn't have been done with what the fuck she was doing. If she believed Black Lives Matter, don't point your goddamn gun at the police officer.
She did not deserve to be shot down.
As Hale recovers from her wounds, supporters came together well aware of the charges the 26-year-old woman faces for allegedly having a firearm and, according to law enforcement, pointing that weapon at them.
No matter what we are told did happen.
No matter what we are told happened, or we don't care what happened. What? So they basically saying we don't give a fuck what happened. We still gonna be out here marching and saying the police is racist.
Ms. Hale was a human being, and could have been any one of our mothers, sisters, cousins.
Who in the fuck? Your old ass mother ain't gonna be out there with no goddamn gun running from the police, bitch. Please, huh? It could have been any one mother. You mean to tell me your old ass, not even your old ass, gonna be out there running from the damn police pointing the gun at them? If you do, your old ass need to get shot too. The hell she talking about? It could have been anyone's mother. I can imagine somebody old ass grandmother getting out the stolen car, trying to run, pointing the gun at the police. Huh? Now, if anybody don't deserve to get shot, they ought to laugh at that instead of shoot. Like this bitch. Look at this old bitch trying to run. We gonna sit here and wait till this bitch have a heart attack. No, don't shoot at her. She ain't gonna hit nobody. Just let her run and have a damn heart attack. Huh? It could have been anyone. if it was any one of your sisters or brother, their ass should have got shot too. If it was my brother, his ass should have got shot too. Huh? If it was anybody watching, brother or sister or mama on here pointing the gun at the police, their ass should have got shot too. No color lines. No sex lines. You wanted to be equity and women rights and all this old shit. You know what I'm saying? Well, women got a right to get their ass shot too in the shootout. Huh?
Aunties, for whatever reason, we would want them to be brought in safely and not be shot 5 times. We would not want that.
Activist Justice Gatson organized this evening's gathering and questions this single image of Hale holding a gun released by the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office, who says it came from one of the officer's body cameras.
How can you question that? Y'all said she was unarmed. How can you question that? Like, I have to question if she was armed or not. Bitch, you got a still photo. Huh? I got a question, is she aiming? She aiming it right at him, looking damn near at one of the officers while she aiming at him. Right? I have to see all of this. Bitch, you out of the stolen car. You out of what do you need to see? What more do you need to see to find out this bitch is guilty?
They had one message for all of us. Do something. Just do something. For God's sake, do something.
It's the first time we've seen that photograph, and I can't speak to legitimacy of it.
She said the photograph is doctored. No, that bitch story is doctored. I can't speak to the legitimacy of the photograph. Bitch, you said she got a gun in her hand. But they still out here protesting. She shouldn't have got shot with a gun in her damn hand.
We've had problems with KCPD, and so I don't trust that department.
Following today's charges against Hale, Missouri State Highway Patrol.
You ain't got to trust the department, bitch. You can trust the video, though. That's for damn sure. You can trust the damn video, hoe. I don't trust the department. Well, trust that damn audio video that's still framed with that gun in her hand. Trust that.
Patrol said their investigation continues, and once it's complete, it'll be submitted to the Jackson County prosecutor for a final review.
My baby walks to this store. There was other children and families in the store, in the parking lot that witnessed this. Our community is hurt. We are hurting. We are traumatized.
Look at dude in the back with the cloaks on, like, yeah, we are traumatized. Yeah, we are hurt, right? But they didn't say nothing about the victim, the supposedly victim, lied to him. They ain't saying nothing about that. What about supposedly victim? What about she was armed? What about her not being unarmed? What about y'all lying for a whole damn day and the news reporting it, right, until they found out the truth and had to cover it back up? That don't count, though.
We are tired of feeling like our deaths don't matter, our pain don't matter, our tears don't matter, our struggles don't matter. They do.
Many in support of the 26-year-old still found themselves backing her.
They're gunning down people who aren't threats down in the street.
Until we were able to show them exactly what police and prosecutors say happened.
I see. How come the person yesterday said she didn't have a gun?
You out there, you dumb motherfucker. You out there protesting and getting mad and shit, and ain't even knowing the truth. Okay, I see. Well, why they say she had a gun? Because they lied to your dumb ass. You watching the wrong damn news, dumbass. Like they been lying to your dumb ass. Like they out here shooting innocent people. Oh yeah, well, okay, well look at this video. Okay, well I'll see. Why the person yesterday say she had a gun? Because they lied, stupid.
A claim that was never backed by evidence, and prosecutors say helped fuel false narratives around the case. However, they say this isn't enough.
The video ain't enough. We don't give a fuck about the video and the gun in her hand, her pointing it at the officer. That's not enough. We want the charges dropped. We want the charges dropped, and we want the officer charged. We want her charges dropped. And we want $2.5 million for shooting her. Ain't that a bitch? See, he could have done something else. Well, at least they didn't kill her. Last time y'all look. Last time y'all was talking about. Remember they had the girl with the knife. They're like, they killed her. You know, they could have shot her and slowed her down and didn't have to kill her. Well, they shot her and slowed her down and didn't kill her, and y'all still complaining. What they gotta do? They didn't kill her this time. Y'all complaining about the killing motherfucker. Well, they didn't kill her. Give them credit for that. Give them credit for shooting her and slowing her down and disarming her. Baka, baka, baka. Shot her 2 times in the shoulder, 2 times in the arm, and once in the pussy. Huh? None of that shit won't function no more. Give the police credit where credit is due.
If I want to see the body cam footage right now.
Hale remains in the hospital due to her wounds, and it is not clear when she will be released. The male suspect who ran away from police at the time Hale was getting out of the vehicle is in custody. Some say she was pregnant, something Fox 4 is still working to verify.
Hell no, she ain't pregnant. She just fat. Don't y'all know a beer gut when y'all see one? They said she was pregnant. Hell no, that bitch is fat and skinny. If she wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like the liberals care about babies anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's not like she was gonna keep it anyway. You know what I'm saying? She's doing all this whole shit. She's probably about to abort it. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? The police done her as a favor if she was pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Because she was about to do the damn thing anyway. She out here in sweatsuits and a damn bob and weave hairdo and a woman's white t-shirt, right? She wasn't going to take care of no damn baby. She one of the baby killers, right? She is one of them, right? She ain't out here. She out here smoking and drinking and robbing niggas. She ain't out here trying to have no baby to slow her down. That's a beer gut. The police and the news don't know what the fuck a beer gut is.
Now the 2 felons, after Columbine, after Sandy Hook, after Charleston, after Orlando, after Las Vegas, after Parkland, nothing has been done.
So when it enacted, it does help. There are things that we can do, and one of the things that the president talks about with expanding the background checks, if we're able to do that, we are going to take more guns out of the hands of criminals,
and more guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens too. They don't tell you about that part. Criminals, yeah, gonna be more criminals getting guns too. You're gonna take them out of law-abiding citizens' hands. That's the back part. They don't tell you about that.
and that is incredibly important. So there are things here that can be worked out, that can be done, that is not going to prevent every tragedy, but will take us to a better place so we can protect our families.
Bitch, protection will help the tragedies, not less guns, more guns.
For so many of you at home, I want to be very clear. This is not about taking away anyone's guns. It's not about vilifying gun owners. In fact, we believe we should be treating responsible gun owners as an example of how every gun owner should behave.
Now we know.
Every gun, that nigga said gum at first. This nigga still stuck on ice cream. If it say gum, bubble gum ice cream, I have bubble gum. I mean, gun violence in America. You finna say gum.
Now we know where they want to go. We just said it.
I respect the culture and the tradition and the concerns of lawful gun owners. At the same time, the Second Amendment, like all other rights, is not absolute.
End the filibuster, expand the court, forget the Constitution. Now we know.
It was Justice Scalia who wrote, and I quote, like most rights, the Second Amendment, the rights granted by the Second Amendment are not unlimited. Not unlimited. It never has been.
You mentioned you want weapons of war out of circulation. What is a weapon of war to you?
A weapon of war, right? Ain't no nigga got no drones doing no drive-bys. Ain't no nigga got no airplanes. Ain't no nigga got no grenade launchers or no grenade. If you go into war with an AR-15, his ass is dead. If you go into war with a 9mm and it's not a backup gun, his ass is dead. Any gun that these niggas is using on the street, even a ghost gun, you go into one of them, a battle with a damn ghost gun he made at the base, his ass is dead. Huh? What the hell is a AR-15 gonna do to a bulletproof vest? How far the AR-15 gonna travel in war? Huh? What's the distance on the AR-15? Huh? What's the accuracy on the AR-15? You mean to tell me all the money, all the government funded money in the world we donate, the billions and zillions of dollars we give and the trillions of dollars we give to the army and the military, all they can afford is AR-15s? we will be the laughing stock. Look, the guns we left Afghanistan wasn't even AR-15s. I don't even think we left. Look, it wasn't out of all the billions of guns we left in Afghanistan. Not one of the motherfuckers was an AR-15, huh? Not one person in the Afghanistan war got shot with an AR-15. Not a one. I can guarantee that. Who's gonna be out there with an AR-15? That ass gonna die.
Assault weapons.
So is that like semi-automatic handguns and rifles?
Semi-automatic weapons would qualify as assault weapons. And these are things that should be banned.
Democrats blame guns. They criticize the NRA. They call Republicans names. But let's be honest.
I had to holler at Nuts. I had to call your name. What's up with your Nuts? Call them names? I'm not calling. You see how they said it? They said at the right time, Nuts. Call them names. Right when Nuts says, hey, what's up? Holler at your boy. Holler at your boy, Black. He's like, holler your name. Whoo, that's perfect timing, Nuts. You must be psychic, Nuts. That donation must have came from above, Nuts. Good looking out, Nuts, on the donation.
They've told us what they want to do. Their real beef is with the Second Amendment.
Almost take almost every gun out of people's hands. I mean,
true. I mean, handguns, for example, would not qualify under what I just described. I'm sorry. I gotta go.
A handgun is a semi-automatic, fool, and a handgun is semi-automatic. You want to take all semi-automatic weapons off the street, but not handgun. A 9mm is a semi-automatic. Dumbass.
There have always been limitations on what weapons you can own in America. For example, machine guns have been federally regulated for nearly 90 years, and this is still a free country.
That's because of the accuracy and the safety of it, just like a 38 special, you know what I'm saying? The accuracy of a damn machine gun and all that old stuff, the reason it was banned. And the accuracy of an AK-47, the reason why it was banned, huh? They use an AK-47 in the damn war before they use a damn AR-15. Right? But it was banned because of accuracy. But technology has advanced, the gun technology and stuff like that. That's why you can never stop it, right? Because it's not just that people are making guns, it's technology has advanced where you can block it, right? But people can order it. Think about this, right? Back in the days, right, when people was buying guns, you had to buy it and basically in person. You had to know somebody. Now you can basically go on the internet, right? You didn't have that option. Back in the 90s, in the 80s, when gang violence was at its highest, right? It wasn't no internet. It wasn't no place where you can just go and go on the internet and find the guns and make a gun and shit like that. No, you had to buy a gun. You had to steal them. It was all kind of way. But it wasn't no shortage of guns back in the days. You can believe that. Everybody had a gun, right? You get guns all the damn time, right? So it's the shortage in gun, no matter how bad you made the law, right? It never was a shortage in gun. In '94, right, when they made the assault weapons ban, okay, you made assault weapons, but that didn't stop 9mm and little all kind of little different little handguns. People still carrying handguns and getting the same amount of time, getting state time. Right? It is that you get caught with a big ass gun, you get fair time. Right? But people still getting shot. They didn't stop nothing. Right? And even now, if people gonna risk going to jail, if they're gonna risk murder, they're gonna risk going to jail for a gun. They're gonna risk that. If you go do a drive-by, I'm pretty sure they don't care about getting caught with the gun. Right? or getting caught for the murder. And nowadays, right, more people are starting to say, I'm going out with a bang than not. It's a rise in people saying suicide by cop now. Fucking, I'm finna go with suicide by cop. It was a nigga that's on Facebook talking about suicide by cop. Huh? These other motherfuckers talking about suicide by cop. There's a lot of people talking about suicide by cop. We're going to get into that later on. We're going to get into that in just a minute. It's coming up.
You will not stop us from advancing the Protecting Our Kids Act today. You will not stop us from passing it in the House next week, and you will not stop us there. If the filibuster obstructs us, we will abolish it. If the Supreme Court objects, we will expand it, and we will not rest until we have taken weapons of war out of circulation in our communities. Each and every day, we will do whatever it takes to end gun violence, whatever it takes.
Weapons of war. We're going to take weapons of war. You don't really give a damn about the hood. You just getting emotional. They say the black token nigga up there, you know what I'm saying, to get emotion, talking about our streets and our neighborhoods. You don't see no white people saying that shit. Our streets and our neighborhood. You always see somebody black getting up there saying that shit. We're going to take back our streets and our neighborhood. You never hear a white person get up there saying we're going to take back our streets and our neighborhoods. You never hear no white people marching in the street talking about we're going to stop the violence in our neighborhood. Right? You never hear no white people, you know what I'm saying, on the on national TV talking about the shit in their neighborhood gotta stop. This gang violence in my neighborhood gotta stop. The police violence gotta stop. The education system they never talk about that shit, right? Is that a good or a bad thing? Huh? Why is that? Why is there no gang violence in white neighborhoods? Why is there no women riding bikes getting shot in white neighborhoods? Why nobody reaching to a car and socking the dude and shooting a woman in the back in the white neighborhoods? Right? We hear about mass shootings, we hear about evil, we hear about all kinds of things, right? And it's always been evil. It's always been different types of evil, right? And it has to be evil in the world, but in order for it to be good, right? You got to measure the good because you got to measure the evil, right? And you can never rule it out because it always got to be something you can measure something up to, right? You'll never stop people from doing evil shit. People been doing the evil shit since the beginning of time, and they had no reason to. People are just born with evil fucking spirits, and they do evil fucking things. They have evil fucking minds and evil fucking intentions. It's just people are like that in every country, every city, right? Probably on every damn block in the world.
Protecting our freedom to go to school, to a grocery store, to a church, without being shot and killed.
Their real beef is with the Second Amendment. Think about what this bill does. Mr. Massey just outlined the 6 bills thrown into one. What this bill does, it tells law-abiding citizens when you can get a gun, what kind of gun you can get, what accessories you can get for your gun, and where and how you have to store it in your own darn home.
Huh? So it'll be easy access for them to come get it. Where you can put your gun at. We want to tell you how many bullets you can have, what type of gun you can have, and where you can keep your gun. What kind of Second Amendment right is that? They're going to say it's not a right, it's a privilege now. Let us know where you got your gun. It's a privilege now. It's no longer a right, it's a privilege. We done took the right away. We done destroyed the Second Amendment. Now it's no longer a right, it's a privilege, just like driving.
Strengthen background checks, enact safe storage law and red flag laws.
That red flag law shit don't work all the time, right? They got red flag laws in states right now, right? And the red flag law don't work all the time because guess what? Liberals shoot up schools too. It's not no right wing. I'm pretty sure y'all gonna give all the liberals guns and let all of them pass the, you know what I'm saying, the gun test and all that shit, right? But them motherfuckers shoot up schools too. And red flag laws don't always work.
Lost in last week's shooting at a FedEx facility New information emerges about the gunman, 19-year-old former employee Brandon Scott Hole. Authorities say that last year he legally bought the 2 assault rifles used in the attack, months after his mother warned police her son might attempt suicide by cop.
They was warned. This was a part of a red flag. Hey, my son is crazy. He don't deserve no guns, right? Can you come and get it? Because he talk about suicide by cop. Can you come get this crazy son of a bitch, right? They sent the police. They took his guns. How come did he still commit homicide? How come he still committed a mass murder when he went through a whole process of buying the guns legally? His mother followed her process, right? And red flagged his ass, told him to come get the guns, right? They came and got the guns, took his ass to a crazy hospital, released him, and you know what happened next.
Under Indiana's red flag law, authorities seized a weapon from Hole, but a court hearing to determine if he was fit to own a gun never happened.
They never had the hearing on whether he was fit to have a gun or not, so they never said, okay, this nigga's crazy and he can never have a gun. They never had the hearing. So they never had the hearing. Guess what? I'm not red flag. I can go in and buy another gun.
This case does illustrate some of the shortcomings that exist with this red flag law.
Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears.
He was treated by mental health professionals. They didn't civilly commit him. They didn't prescribe him any additional medication, and he was cut loose. And so for us, the risk is if we move forward with that proceeding and we lose, guess what happens? That firearm goes right back to that person.
Right? And didn't the dude who shot up Buffalo, didn't he go to a mental health institute and wasn't he released the same way? Right? When he talking about shooting up the school. So what good is red flagging if the people you red flag, they go to these mental institutes, right? And they really don't get diagnosed. What good is the red flag? I mean, it's a red flag. Y'all keep on talking about these systems that's already in work, right? But the systems that didn't work, the background checks and all that, if they're not working, right? Even the gun sales, the gun buyback, that's not working because they got them, right? If these things not working when they already implemented, what you think, how you think they're going to work if you do implement it? Or implement them more because they already implemented, right? The red flag is already implemented. They got red flags in Los Angeles, California. That's what the gay immigrant black woman said, right? She said they got red flags and it stopped 21 people from committing mass murders in California, right? So if that's the case, red flag laws are already on the books and they supposedly be working. According to the gay immigrant first lady, they're supposed to be working.
That's what this bill does. This is an assault. This is the start. This is the start. We know it's the start because Miss Jackson Lee, the first person to speak on their side, said this: we're not finished.
According to new data just released by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, guns are the #1 killer of children.
Oh, now we're getting into the good part of it, right? Now we're getting into the good part. And I was just teaching you, sticking the tip in. Now we're getting to the good part, right? Joe Biden just said gun violence. He just said, look, he said the report just came out. Gun violence is the #1, right? Is the #1 lead of death in amongst kids, right? And I'm finna show you how fucked up the Biden administration is, right? Let me show you something right quick before we get into this, right? Let me show you something. Right? They talking about how I'm finna show you about criminals, right? Now, we all know this girl right here. Her father's in jail. This girl right here, her father was one of the Uvalde shooting victims, right? Reportedly denied compassionate release for her funeral, right? Now, they let these niggas go on free bail all the time, all across America, right? For guns and murders and assault, right? He got a drug charge, right? And they wouldn't let him out for his daughter's funeral, right? Right? A father jail A father of a girl killed in Uvalde, Texas school shooting, who is also an inmate in a federal prison, Kentucky, was denied compassion release recently, according to a letter from Kentucky representative, right? Torres, who was 10, was one of the children killed in the shooting, happened to go to the school. Torres is currently serving the time, right? What he was serving time for? What he was serving time for? He couldn't be released to his daughter's service, right? Joe Biden even spoke up to him, right? Scott sent a letter to from President Joe Biden and Governor Andy Beshear to ask for the help of the situation. And they still said, hell no. He's not getting out to 2033 for drug trafficking, right? They asked for an early release. They asked, could he go to the funeral of the daughter? And Joe Biden owns the feds. This is a federal shit. Joe Biden can do what the fuck he want to with the feds. Why you didn't release no emergency release or anything federal, Joe Biden, so this man can go to his daughter's funeral? Joe State, it'd have been different. But his ass is in the feds. Huh, Joe Biden? It's going to be the last opportunity to see his daughter. And they didn't give him a release. That's what happens to the Biden administration. And as far as kids dying, right? They didn't start dying until what year? What year did kids start dying? You guessed it.
In the United States.
Oh, my bad.
States of America. The #1 killer. More than car accidents. More than cancer.
Is to get rid of the Second Amendment. Joe Biden said it the other day.
We need to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. And if we can't ban assault weapons, then we should raise the age to purchase them from 18 to 21.
Said he wants to ban 9mm handguns.
X-ray. He said a .22 caliber bullet will lodge in the lung, and we can probably get it out, may be able to get it and save the life. A 9mm bullet blows the lung out of the body. So the idea blows the lung out of the body.
Blows the lung out of the body. So we got to ban 9mm because they blow the lung out of the body. Right? They coming to take your gun, Sergeant Mo.
Of the body. So the idea of these high caliber weapons, there's no rational basis for it in terms of about self-protection, hunting. I remember.
Michael Moore said it last week.
Look. Michael Moore said it last week, right? Michael Moore is on TV talking about Second Amendment rights too. Michael Moore on here talking about taking your second. Everybody want to take your Second Amendment right. Everybody want to take your gun. All the liberals want a gun-free zone America.
Said it last week.
Look, again, it's hard to make this up.
The country was birthed in violence with the genocide of the native people at the barrel of a gun. This country was built on the backs of slaves with a gun to their backs to build this country into the country that we got to have. We don't want to acknowledge our two original sins here that have a gun behind the ability for us to become who we became. So,
we had a gun. Black people had a gun to their back. We all know that. We grew from that. This nigga went way back 200 damn years ago. We knew this.
I think that we've got to. I don't know. To nickel and dime this, I don't know if that's going to do it. I think that we need some really drastic action here.
Time to repeal the Second Amendment, he said.
We need a moratorium, perhaps, on gun sales. We need to, who will say on this network or any other network in the next few days, it's time to repeal the Second Amendment?
Oh, he want to repeal the Second Amendment. He want the Second Amendment gone. So he and Joe Biden want the Second Amendment gone. And remember, he's a Democrat spokesman. He like one of the Democrat heroes right here. He the liberal movie maker right here. He had a movie 9/11, Donald Trump, all kind of shit. Fahrenheit 9/11.
Oh, you can't say that. Well, why not? Why not? Look, I support all gun control legislation, not sensible gun control. We don't need the sensible stuff. We need the hardcore stuff that's going to protect ourselves and our children.
That nigga said we need the hardcore stuff like the Hunter Biden. We need the Hunter Biden of gun control. Huh? We need the Parmesan cheese of gun control. Huh? We don't need the soft shit. We don't need the weed. We need the Hunter Biden shit. Crystal meth mixed with crack and heroin. Huh? We need that one.
We know where the Democrats want to go, and they don't care about the Constitution. Mr. Bishop pointed that out just a few minutes ago.
Hey, Bill, we gotta dance. You gotta dance to this part. Get ready to dance. Get ready, because Trump for the dance for you. So you gotta get ready to dance. Dance.
Just a few minutes ago.
I don't know if we're willing to do that, but I will say that I do have thoughts and prayers, and those thoughts and prayers are to remove as many Republicans, as many people who support this evil policy this coming November.
The Constitution, the Second Amendment, was never absolute. Address the mental health crisis.
Right? Now, we can get in to the rooter of the tutor, right? Right? I want to see, do y'all remember what Donald Trump said was going to cause? Yeah, I know it keep freezing. I don't know why it keep freezing. I don't know why the hell it keep freezing, right? Sometimes it do that when, let me see. Sometimes it do that, let me see.
I don't know if we're willing to do that, but
yeah, sometimes be tripping. Hopefully it catch back up. That's why I'm trying to catch back up. I don't know why it's doing that. If I cut it off and I do it, it's going to start all over. We almost finished. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got, and this is the most important part. Don't be freezing. Hopefully it catch up. That's what happens when you're working on the ghetto-ass computer, when you're in the ghetto and you got a fucked up system. You know what I'm saying? One day I'll be working on the best Wi-Fi system in the world. And I think it's the video. I think it's the system I'm using.
The Constitution, the Second Amendment, was never absolute.
There we go.
Address the mental health crisis, deepening the trauma of gun violence and as a consequence of that violence.
Damn it.
They know the age limit in this bill is unconstitutional. We just had a decision last month from the most liberal circuit in the country. Said it's unconstitutional.
The family of the inventor of the AR-15 said he would have been horrified to know that its design was being used to slaughter children and other innocent lives instead of being used as a military weapon on the battlefields as it was designed. That's what it was designed for. Enough.
Enough.
They know the storage provisions are unconstitutional. The Heller decision said so.
We should limit how many rounds a weapon can hold. Why, in God's name, should an ordinary citizen be able to purchase an assault weapon that holds 30-round magazines that let mass shooters fire hundreds of bullets in a matter of minutes?
Matter of minutes, right? It doesn't matter, right, what kind of law you put in or how many bullets a nigga can have. They always going to modernize something. Don't you know technology has improved? They're gonna make an improvement. Niggas is running around with 100-round clip 9mm, right? Niggas is running around with extended clip revolvers, right? They making up shit that you never even heard was possible. Huh? They got clickers on a gun that make 38s into Uzis. They got shit that shoot 2 bullets at a time. Huh? They got a double barrel 45. They got shit you ain't never heard of. Double barrel 45 automatic. Huh? Who sent me a donation? Who was that? Black, promote your channel. Get cards made up and hand them out. You need your subscribers to base up to. Hey, you can't hand no cards in this liberal ass country. This liberal ass. If I was in Texas or somewhere with a lot of conservatives, I'd be cracking. But every time you go down here, it's like you gotta. People say you. I almost got into a damn fight when I last night because I had a Trump hat. I had. It was, and oh man, it was crazy. It was crazy. I almost got into a fight because he didn't get mad at the Trump hat. He got mad at the hat I had on before, and I took that hat off and put on my Trump hat. And he like, oh, I'm glad you took off the other. I'm like, but it was some other stuff, right? X stuff. But it was like this crazy. I almost got into a fight, not because I had on the Trump hat, because I took off another hat and put the Trump hat on. Crazy. Hey, it was a backward story. Anyway, who was that? Good looking out, RJ, man. I had a pattern for a hat, RJ, man, but the dude ain't calling me back. I had something for you. I was thinking like, damn, RJ, man, need this hat. I wish I could show you the message, but yeah, I knew you need that hat. But look, RJ, man, we finna get to the details of this, right? We finna get into how Donald Trump called out how all this was gonna happen. He called it out. Like I've been doing, like I say, I got an elephant memory, and I remember everything Donald Trump said about every situation that's going on right now. Every situation he said lined up perfectly with what's going on right now. Just like when he said about the gas, when he said about the migrants, when he said about the Hillary Clinton, Spygate, the Russian collusion, the war, all that shit Donald Trump has said has came to life. Crime, war on the police, defund the police, the swamp, everything as Donald Trump has said. So I remember he said something about what's going to happen, you know what I'm saying, around this time, you feel me? And he called it out, and nobody believed him, right? But they believed him, right? But they didn't necessarily say they believed him. They only reported on it and said this is the reason why these things are happening. I want to see it in a chat before I call it out. I want to see the first person who guessed why everything is happening. Right? When was the start of it? Spell it out. It should be easy. When was the start of everything happening?
They don't care. Forget the Constitution. They want to change the country in so many dramatic ways.
They want to change the country in so many dramatic ways. Let me see. Do anybody remember why or the reason why the country is so fucked up and what the Democrats blamed it on, right? Donald Trump said it was going to happen, but the Democrats really blamed it on there. The Democrats like, this is the reason why all this shit is happening. This is what's happening. This is what's going on. This is the reason why it's happening. Everything is going on because of this. Let me see who can guess it first. And everything falls in this category. I mean, and I'm finna play some news clips, right? And every single thing falls into this one category. It's this one category, this one thing. Everything. Think about it. I want to see if you're gonna guess that. Good looking out, Sergeant Mo, on the promoting. Somebody guess it. Let me see. I want to see the first person guess it. Every single thing is blamed on this one single thing. Everything. Just like they blame everything now on Vladimir Putin, they blame everything on they used to blame everything on this. And Donald Trump warned us. He said it was going to happen. Think about it. Drug overdoses, gang violence, homicides, suicides, mass shootings. All of it is the cause of one thing. Y'all can't guess it yet. Don't let me play this video. Y'all be like, oh, I should have guessed that. I should have shouted that out. I knew it. It was at the tip of my tongue. I should have shouted that out. Don't everybody, got everybody typing fingers? A military weapon. Nope. One Nation. No, not a military weapon. It's something real simple. It's a timing and a period. You welcome in the small wheel. It's a timing and a period. When did all this shit go down? Who was that? Jeffrey Yance sent me a donation. Get looking out, Jeffrey Yance. What Jeffrey Yance say? Jeffrey Yance say, you ever been put on? I'm from the hood. Ha! Jeffrey Young say he from the hood. You ever been put on? You ain't from the hood. Jeffrey Young say he is from the hood. Fuck that. I'm from the hood. Does anybody know what the period of time, right? Like you can't change the clip into 2 seconds. Black hardly ever respond to his super chat, but always donate a little something anyway. He will be better. I only can see the super chats. When you really when you're doing two things at one time, it's hard to see. Like if you look at the little ass messages, right, and it's hard to see anything and highlight it, right. Because I'd be having to stoop down and read all the little messages. Like if you got a phone, because I'm reading them off a phone. So if you reading the message off a phone, you got to understand I'm looking at the video and looking at the phone. So the only thing that lights up is a super chat. People think I only read super chats. No, before the super chats, remember I wasn't reading none of the messages. That's why I didn't know if the phone was going off, if the shit wasn't. I didn't read no messages, so I only see the super chats light up. So that's what gave my one. Oh shit, the super chat. Everything else is small as shit. But the super chats, they light up. You see that should be bright as fucking bright lights and everything, like bling. Like oh shit, that shit is bright. So I only can see that the super chat. So don't feel bad if I don't answer the message. I only can see the super chat. As you know before, I never used to answer the damn chats. I never did. I used to be talking all the damn time. So send me super chat, boom, oh. And then you got to show respect. Anyway, back to the video. We finna get back into, since nobody want to guess it, right? Since nobody want to guess it, the reason why all of this has been going down, the mass shooting, right? The homicides, the suicides, depression, right? All of this is contributed to one fucking thing, right? And that is the pandemic. Everything is related to the pandemic. That's what they say. Now I can go into some conspiracy theories on how and why and shit like that, but I can't do it on this page. I'll probably go on another page, like what you call it, and get into the raw on the background of it, right? And the real, right? I know what's on the background of it. You can use your imagination. I'm gonna try to hint at it, right? Well, because you know if YouTube here, they be like, oh shit, ears peeking up. He's talking about the pandemic, right? But this is not me talking, right? I'm using me, I always go find what other people say and use their words against them. You can, anything you say will and can be used against you on the video of Black Rosebud, right? So I went and got this, and it's not me saying this. Donald Trump said it before, right? He told you this shit was gonna happen, and everybody in the news saying it now, right? And then when Donald Trump or when the Republicans get up there and talk about mental health, right? And the cause of all this stuff is mental health. The mental health happened during the pandemic, right? So when Republicans get up there and talk about, well, we need to work on the mental health and this, they're right. And the Republicans know they're right. Because they've been saying, what Lori Lightfoot say about Chicago when niggas got to getting crazy? Oh, they getting off a lockdown, they going crazy. What they say about when motherfuckers breaking in the store? Oh, they just got off a lockdown and they going crazy. They say the same thing about everybody. Why are people traveling all across the world? Oh, because they just got a lockdown and people going spending crazy. People traveling like crazy. People do everything is because of we got off lockdown and people are doing everything at an extreme level, even depression, even drugs, even mental health. Donald Trump told you. Let's get into it.
According to the CDC data, 2020 marked the first time firearm deaths of children surpassed vehicle crash deaths.
Firearm deaths surpass vehicle car deaths when they relate to kids. See what I'm saying? Boom. RJ Man Black, what's up with the next t-shirts? I got it. I got you. I get them, RJ. Don't trip. Every time I be going to a t-shirt pattern, I almost had one this weekend. I got you next week. I promise. I got the place, everything. I'm just coming up with the pattern. I'm coming with a proper pattern. I got you. I promise that. But boom. Yeah, but anyway, good looking on another donation, RJ. But they saying the number one cause of death among kids now is gunshot wounds. Gunshots. So more kids are dying from gunshot wounds than car crashes, than the Wuhan, right? Then infant. I mean, you can say infant childbirth. It depends on what category you say child, right? Kid cancer. Anything you want to say, right? Gunshots are the leading cause. And when did all that started happening? In 2020. Right in the middle of what? The pandemic. Since 2020, when the Democrats were pressing it, oh, lock down this, lock down that, keep them in, keep them this, don't go to work, stay in the house, don't do this, don't do that, don't have no social life, don't go to school, don't have no friends, don't kick it around this. Donald Trump like, hey, we can't be doing this. We can't be doing this. It's gonna be bad for the country. You can't do this. We gotta open back up. No, let them stay in the house. Don't worry about that. Make them get this. Put this in their body. Kids would stress the fuck out. And when that happens, guess what happened? Someone who has a mental illness or a mental sickness has all kinds of time to think of all kinds of crazy shit, right? I've been in solitary confinement, right? When you don't have no cellie, nobody talking to you, and the things that you have to think of just to stay sane, right? Because you have no kind of human interaction, you have no TV to watch, you have no radio to listen to, you have no books to read. It's just you and your mind. And you can come up with all kinds of shit. Your mind can even play tricks on you, right? So imagine someone in isolation doing the P word. I don't say that. I don't want to keep on saying it, But imagine somebody in isolation doing the P. The shit that went on through their mind. The sick shit. The anger. The resentment. Right? And on top of that, the drugs. And no one's reaching out for this person for help. To help. Right? No one's asking what's wrong. No one's seeing what's wrong. Because guess what? Everyone's isolated. No one's seeing him develop this anger. No one's seeing him develop this resentment. No one's seeing him change. Because guess what? They don't see him. They don't go to school with him. They ain't at work with him no more. They don't see him. Parents don't really see him. They're isolated and stay in their room. They can't go see their friends. The P word.
Agency says nearly 2/3 of the more than 4,000 U.S. children killed by guns in 2020 were homicides.
2020. Huh? 2020. Right? When the P word was in and then Trump was out. Right? And then 2021, it increased. And in 2022, it's increasing more. So every year under Joe Biden, child homicides involving guns have went up.
The gentleman from New York just talked about getting rid of the filibuster, packing the court. We know they want to pack the court because the chairman of this committee introduced a bill 14 months ago to pack the court.
Even before the pandemic, young people were already hurting.
You hear that? Even before the pandemic, young people was already hurting. But not at this rate, Joe Biden. Not at this rate. And Donald Trump warned us.
There's a serious youth mental health crisis in this country.
It is. And it's because of the P word, right? It expanded. It got deeper. It got worser.
We have to do something about it.
There's abuse, tremendous abuse. We have to open our country.
More than 45,000 kids die from homicide, firearm homicide. Not only are we seeing the highest numbers ever, we're also seeing a really steep climb in the numbers, and steeper climb occurring amongst our kids than occurring amongst the adults, which is also very concerning. And if you break it down by demographic, it doesn't matter what gender you are, it doesn't matter what race you are, we're really seeing across the board kids and adolescents being affected by firearm-related injuries.
And that is very troubling. Do we have any idea why this trend?
There's some speculation that it has to do with the pandemic.
Huh? What? It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter geographic, right? At a hold, all crimes against kids involving gun violence have risen. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? All crimes. It doesn't matter where you are, a school shooting, in the hood, at a store, on a playground, in your house, in your front yard, at a parade. All kids dying from gun is a rise from kids dying from gun violence since 2020. And they said it's because of what? The P word.
I've said it often. The cure cannot be worse than the problem itself.
And the worst of it is, this bill would not address the tragedies we have seen unfold around the country.
You're going to have massive depression, meaning mental depression.
What did he say? You're going to have massive depression. Mental depression. Massive. What the world is suffering from right now? Massive depression. Remember Lori Lightfoot was like, well, they're shooting up I'm telling you, every lawyer and mayor was going crazy and blaming the pandemic for it. Right? Trump called it out. You're going to have massive mental health problems. Massive depression. What do people do when they're depressed? They don't only commit suicide. Sometimes they be so depressed they want to take other people with them. They want to inflict pain. They have these weird thoughts in their head. The thoughts that they manifest and they didn't think of, they've been thinking of that really wasn't manifesting in their head when they was 17 or 16. Guess what? You give them a whole year to think about some shit, and then in the depression, and ain't shit getting better? It's only getting worse. People coming out of the P word worse than they coming out, worse than they was before they came into the P word. So imagine the sickness going through people's head. Imagine the hate. Everything have multiplied. They a different person when you're isolated. You come out a different person when you come out of isolation. Anybody. It changes you.
So what is the most pressing issue for parents when it comes to their children today? A new study finds it's drug use and mental health.
Drug use and mental health.
You can have depression in the economy also, but you're going to have mental depression for people.
This morning, we're focusing on major crises that teenagers and children face. According to the CDC, the proportion of mental health-related emergency department visits rose more than 30% in kids 12 to 17 years old during the first months of the pandemic in 2020.
Doing mental health among kids, drug use, suicide, homicide, gang violence. Tell me when I'm lying. I'm not saying it's true, but this was they saying, and Donald Trump said, hey, this was going to happen. Depression, drug use. What happens when you have someone who has mental health problems, right? Who have homicidal, suicidal thoughts, right? What happens when you get that person on these drugs that changes they makeup, they decision making, they reality, right? And then the whole thing about it, we're not saying stop taking drugs. We're saying we'll take the guns, but just take more drugs. Take more drugs. We're going to make them safer for you. We're going to give you extra drugs. We'll make clean needles, clean pipes, lip balm, smoking kits. We're going to legalize it, not arrest you for it, and you can do it everywhere and anywhere. In front of kids, in front of school, in front of businesses. You can build a tent everywhere and do it right in front of anywhere you want to. Adding to depression, adding to mental health, adding to drug use. Right? It's been more homeless people out of the pandemic than any time in history. People lose their job because they was on drugs, because they were depressed, because they lost their job. Some people couldn't take it, and guess what? They took their life. Pandemic.
The study by Lurie Children's Hospital and the Chicago Department of Public Health reveals these were already leading concerns before COVID, but the pandemic just made it worse.
Why did Joe Biden not talk about that? All the shit y'all done to these kids during the pandemic. They suffer from right now. Donald Trump said it. You can't make the disease worse than the cure. What they do? This is the after shit. It was the aftermath to all that shit y'all was doing. You think it was going? It's the consequences to every act. I mean, to every action, it's consequences. No matter good or bad, it's consequences. These were the consequences. These what you wanted to suffer. This is what you wanted to risk. The kids is now acting crazy and doing shit and going to shoot up these schools. You don't think these kids suffer from depression, mental health, possible drug addiction? Huh? No one ever. I guarantee, and I'm not characterizing nobody, but I guarantee you, right? Because the shooter who shot up the school last week and the Buffalo, I guarantee you both of them was on drugs. The father of the boy who shot up Uvalde, right? The father said it was drugs in the house. And that's the reason why they was doing something. The mother was going back and forth and the boyfriend was smoking dope or something like that. I mean, it was, and the boy was involved. It was drugs involved. Why the liberals don't want to talk about that? Why fake news don't want to talk about that? Why Joe Biden don't want to talk about that? Right? They want to take the focus off of why he done it, the mental health, the drugs, the security, how the school's not secure. But I bet you both of them was on drugs.
That's why mental health is the heart of my unity agenda that I laid out in the State of the Union address this year.
19 months into the COVID-19 pandemic, and the effects of isolation are taking a toll on those most vulnerable, our kids.
Huh? Kids that grow up. You never know what a kid mind might do. Some may hurt others. Some may hurt themselves. You never know.
And there was a more than 50% increase in emergency department visits for suspected suicide attempts among adolescent girls during 1 month period in 2021 compared with 2019.
Huh? You see the gap? You see since the pandemic done came out, what done happened to the kids, to society, since the lockdown?
The American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, along with the Children's Hospital Association, have declared a national emergency over children's mental health, in large part due to the pandemic.
More
pandemic. Need I say more?
More privacy protection and resources to keep kids safe from the harms of social media.
So you're going to have tremendous suicides, but you know what you're going to have more than anything else? Drug addiction.
Huh? Did Donald Trump call it out? What happened in the pandemic? Drug addiction among kids, users, new users, all that rose to numbers never seen before, like Donald Trump called out. The greatest president ever.
Today we'll find out how the pandemic is affecting people dealing with addiction.
When we break it down, we've got two sets of people. There was the people who didn't have a substance use problem, and then COVID occurred, and there's the ones who had the problem, and it's just sort of been brewing.
You will see drugs being used like nobody's ever used them before.
There's this period of time where people aren't working, they're stressed out, they're anxious, they're bored, and it just happened. They were bored, and they had all this free time, and they used.
Huh? What's happening to the society? Huh? Drugs, mental health. All that because of the pandemic. You know how much people were stressed out during the pandemic? People were stressed. People lost jobs. You was telling people to put stuff in their body. You giving people all this old free time with no kind of hope or no kind of vision for their future. Like, you made it sound like it's the end of the world. It's going to be around forever. Every time you look around, something happening. People got stressed out, and guess what? People start taking drugs. When people take drugs, guess what? People commit suicide. People kill, right? When you lock people down, right? And like they said, people commit gang violence, right? Because they also got to eat. There's no jobs, and it's survival of the fittest now. People got to eat. Most of the gang violence is over drugs, drug territory, and drug money. They're not shooting people out of this hatred. Some is shooting people out of financial reasons, out of survival.
Survey conducted in June found 40% of adults in the U.S. were dealing with mental or behavioral health issues related to the pandemic.
Adults. Now, if adult is suffering from it, what do you think their kid is suffering from? Think about this. You pass that energy on to your kids. That's why you gotta stay strong to your kids. But if you can't handle the energy and you crack down and you break down, what you think your kid gonna do? Some kids can see that and have resentment and shit. See their parent break down, see their parents suffer through mental health issues because of certain things, right? And they can go through it too. Because they suffer what their mother suffered from. But guess who was getting on talking about mental health way before, I didn't say all this mass shooting was happening, way before all this talks about mass shootings, and they stepped up on taking the Second Amendment right away. Guess who was talking about that shit? The Trump family.
Melania Trump put a spotlight on substance use and mental health.
Suicides are on the rise as people who are struggling with loneliness and addiction feel they have nowhere to turn. Parents, please talk to your children.
Including anxiety and depression. And
you right about that. Nudge, they doing everything to break the will of the people. Now, Nudge, look at this, right? Suicide and homicide. And they giving you more drugs. What drugs do? It don't take away the pain. It adds to the pain. Because when you ain't got them drugs, when you ain't got that stuff, and then you keep on, look, think about this. I got two brothers on drugs. And I know where they mind done went now. Now it's on. I know where they was before they was on drugs, and I know where they mind at now. They off of drugs, talking themselves, living under tunnels and shit like that, living in cardboard boxes. It done took their mental weight. The drugs and mental health. And when pandemic hit, he was really fucked up because guess what? They wouldn't even take their ass to jail no more. Sometimes, look, in LA and in certain places, people go to jail to get cleaned up, right? And that's how it may be funny, right? But some people, before they get cleaned up, or they want to take a break, or they want to get saved, some of them go to jail. They feed you, you get back clean, you know what I'm saying? You get your weight back, you get up in there, you go exercise, you know, and you come out, you know what I'm saying, and you get a new life, right? That's if you want to, you know, some people do it and get right back out to get smoking, right? But some people do that. It's an ongoing cycle, right? They go there, they get their mental health, right? They get their medical, right? And they there and they're able to rest their mind and get back a little bit focused. But when you don't give people that option and don't take them off the street for a little while, to let them get cleaned up, to let them get their senses back, and let them keep on spiraling down that thing of mental health and drugs, yes, Nudge, they're going to be fucked up, Nudge. That's going to be like, the worst of the worst. So you're right about that, Nudge.
1/4 of young people 18 to 25 considered suicide. 25%.
It was 25%. Now, how many of them thought about actual homicide? Think about this. People just don't think about hurting themselves, right? And killing themselves. Some people think about murder, suicide, murder by cop. Some people think about killing others and becoming a martyr. They fantasize and being on the news, right? They fantasize on people talking about them, right? They fantasize on that. Who knows? Look, think about this, right? I read the book called The Ego, right? And everybody have a conscious and an unconscious, right? The killers of the mass shooters had their unconsciousness was telling them all kind of racist shit, Go ahead and do this. Go ahead and do that. You'll be a martyr. I'm tired of your family. I'm tired of this. Go ahead and shoot your grandmother in the face and go ahead and shoot this school up. And I mean, everyone in their mind has sick thoughts that you have to keep to yourself. Everyone has thought about doing some sick shit. And that's your mind, because your mind cannot stop thinking. It does not stop thinking, right? That's the only thing. You cannot stop thinking. So sometimes through experience, thoughts just pop to your head. And sometimes the thoughts be crazy as shit, right? You go up there and like, man, I hope this old lady got hit by a car, right? You like, then your conscience like catch you like, Black, don't be thinking no shit like that. That's fucked up, right? Now, you could also have it like, man, I ought to go hit that motherfucker upside the head with a brick. Some person, the angel on your other side of your conscience be like, no, Black, you don't go to jail, right? The devil could be convinced you like, you ain't finna go to jail. Ain't nobody finna catch you. Go ahead and hit that nigga upside the head with a brick. Who, you know what I'm saying? He think you this type of nigga. He think you that. No, you have a constant argument. Sometimes in some people, they unconscious takes over because they don't know how to listen to their conscious. They don't know how to listen to that, and they think like unconscious is a small voice in their head talking to them, huh? Oh, I hear a voice in my head talking to me. That's your unconscious. But you also have a conscious voice inside your head that's telling you that's wrong and that's right. But they can't. They don't have the mental capacity to understand that, and that's where the difference come in, right? Because it even comes with people who fuck with kids. You got one of your unconscious telling you it's good. I'm gonna make her like me. I'm gonna make her love it. She wants it. You know what I'm saying? It's not really a bad thing. I done heard these perverts talk and some fucked up thinking because that's their unconscious thinking. But they conscious got to be up in there somewhere and say, no, that's a fucking child. No, she's innocent. Right? But some people are able to block out of that shit, like block out of that, right? Just like gay. Every man that had gay thoughts, right? But as your conscience, because you don't do nothing but think. But as your conscience, but the faster, the more conscious, the more awareness of your conscience you is, the faster you able to get it out your head. And sometimes it don't even, you so wrapped in your conscience, you don't have that shit in your head at all. Because your conscience is so aware of all of your thought process. So no gay shit or no racist shit or no whatever it may be coming in your head because your conscience is trained. They don't have that conscious level. And then drugs don't help. Then you end up with shit like this: suicides and homicides.
Opioids. Corey died of a heroin overdose, and Sean was prescribed pills.
We're almost a year into COVID in Connecticut. How has the pandemic impacted those dealing with substance abuse?
Cheryl Jouer has lost not one, but two sons to overdose deaths. First Corey in 2011. Then Sean lost his battle with addiction just 2 weeks ago.
You're going to have large numbers of suicides. Take a look at what happens in a really horrible recession or worse.
Younger teens are struggling too.
A recession, huh? I was gonna do a show on recession. That was the original show was about. The original show today was about recessions. I'll probably hit that tomorrow, right? The worst recessions in United States history. I mean, not the United States, in the world. You know, the 5 worst, right? I was gonna do a show on that, but I can understand how recession, because if you were some of them countries that was hit with the recessions, you would want to do some shit to yourself too. But it affects lots of people in lots of different ways, right? Because sometimes, right, like this young precious girl right here, right? Young precious girl right here had everything going for herself, right? Then the pandemic hit, and it took everything away from her, right? And no one saw it. No one was there to help her. No one was there to guide her. I mean, she was uncertain. They basically took her life away. And there's thousands of teens just like her. She's not the only one. She's the only one whose mother had the heart enough to get on there and talk about it and help other mothers with awareness to watch their kids, right? Especially in this time. It's not over because he's still suffering from the same effects. They're coming out of it, you know what I'm saying? They're getting used to getting back in society and getting back to being social and shit like that. But at one point in time, they didn't have that. And this is the result. Oops.
She thrived on being active. She did.
Sophomore Giovanni Smith excelled at softball, basketball, and track. She played 3 instruments, but COVID shut all of that down, and she was stuck in the house.
COVID shut all of that down, and she was stuck in the house. Oh, I didn't mean to say that, right? I didn't mean to say that, right? But see how depression, right, comes at all ages. She was playing sports, instruments. I'm pretty sure she had friends. She was an active girl. You took all that away. You took her music away. You took her social life away. You took her school away. You took her instruments away. You took her friends away and told her to stay in the house. It's for your own good.
Because you would have people that had a wonderful job at a restaurant or even owned a restaurant. I spoke to great people today that have done a great job. And one day, they're at the top of their business. They're celebrity chefs. They've got the most successful restaurants. And in one day, they have nothing.
Like that poor princess. She had everything going for herself. Everything. And one day, she had nothing. Right? So it could be a business owner, or it could be the average student that go from everything to fucking nothing.
They've gotten wiped out one day from our enemy.
We must provide more school counselors, more school nurses, more mental health services for students and for teachers, more people volunteering as mentors to help young people succeed.
She's literally by herself. I think it just put her in a place to be lonely.
Giovanni took her own life in April.
Do you think your daughter would be gone right now if we didn't have a pandemic?
Absolutely not.
Huh? My daughter will still be here. Everything. Look how much they shit. I mean, you can blame everything on it. Ain't that what the Democrats done? Didn't they blame everything on it? Huh? The reason we come out of here, the recession, the inflation, everything was based on this, right? But if you're gonna use that excuse on gas and on food and on job growth and all those shit, you gotta use the same thing when you talk about child suicide and mass murders and mental health. You gotta say with everything. I mean, it's just not this physical things that happen after the so-called the Wuhan. It's all kind of other things that's part of the aftermath too. And the main reason is mental health. Mental fucking health. Right? This girl could have been helped, right, with some mental health. She still would have been alive. The mother said it. How bad, how many people have that affected mentally to be depressed, suicidal, or even homicidal? Because they ain't always suicide that these people commit.
The dynamic of life changed.
The dynamic of life changed. Not for just youngsters, and I mean not for just adults, but for youngsters too. Your entire life dynamic changed. If you wasn't able to handle it, guess what? You wasn't able to handle it.
Studies have shown that these people, these higher users, are the ones that have struggled the most. So across the country, emergency room visits for people using substances, whether it's alcohol or amphetamines or opioids, have gone up.
And people are going to be dying all over the place from drug addiction.
Those people are dying every day. You don't see them all in one spot. It's not like an airplane. but it is all across the country. It's horrific.
Experts say the pandemic made things tougher for addicts trying to help themselves as time spent alone became the worst possible environment.
Huh? Addicts try to help themselves alone, right? Because being alone is the worst possible environment. Everything evolves from that. Everything. Everything go hands in hand. First with the lockdown, right? That was the main cause of it, right? Then you had the depression, right? That calls for drugs. That calls for so-called repentment and crime, right? Whatever you want to say, been holding back and to boost it up. Drug use, alcohol use, gang violence, every single thing evolves around that period of time.
Massive drug use, massive depression, mental depression, massive numbers of suicide. The cure be worse than the problem itself. We're not going to let the cure be worse than the problem.
That shooting there in Southern California is just one of more than 7,000 gun deaths in the U.S. so far this year. The numbers rising significantly during the pandemic.
Huh? Everything is not rising significantly. Huh? When the pandemic hit, the no bail thing was out. That's when that law came out. They snuck that shit in there. The courts closed down. Jailhouses closed down. Defunding the police. All that shit. Defunding all that. Remember, they were firing the police because of the pandemic. Stop me when I'm lying.
Pandemic began, gun violence has spiked across the U.S. In D.C. alone, there have been more than 900 shootings since last March. More than 260 people have been killed.
Stunning surge of gun violence around the country. Look at this, the total number of deaths by gun violence, not including suicide. You can see the moderate rise from 2018 to 2019, but in 2020, nearly 4,000 more Americans died by gun violence, roughly a 25% increase in a single year.
We're dealing with the coronavirus pandemic right now, but we're still seeing an uptick in violence. Just this year alone, police pulled off more than 10,000 guns off the streets, but we're still seeing more than 700 homicides so far this year, including a 60-year-old who was shot and killed yesterday morning in the parking deck in the South Loop.
Pandemic.
This unity agenda won't fully heal the wounded souls, but it will help. It matters. I just told you what I'd do. The question now is, what will the Congress do?
What will the Congress do? Right? And I'm glad, and tomorrow's video, right, you see how everything is a pandemic, right? I'm going to get into the tomorrow video, right, why I'm going to show you just one part of that video on why that is very important, why that is very important right there, right? This is the video I was going to do today, right? Let me see, open, all right. And this is very important, right? This is very fucking important, right? Where we at, right? I think, which one is it? Is it this? What the hell? Okay, it's right here. Right here. Open. No, don't save it. I don't need to save it. Right? Show you that one part of why that is very important when it comes to inflation, right? That one part right there. That one part why it's so important when it comes to inflation. Right? Where that part at? Where is that part at? Then I'm out of here. I'll show you this one part and then I'm out of here. I gotta find a little bit more footage on this video right here. Is this it?
The road to hyperinflation usually comes after.
Here you go. This is it right here. This is it right here. Right? This part I want to show you right here. This part I want to show you right here. Oops. I went too far. Oh, damn. What? Right here.
International isolation or natural disasters.
Oh, yeah. hyperinflation.
For example, in most cases, the economy is already weak, and they're first to classify hyperinflation. He stated that the phenomenon happens. Even though each case is unique, there are different reasons this happens. Even though each case is unique, there are common patterns.
Common patterns.
For example, in most cases, the economy is already weak, and there is a shock caused